The buyer who waits until 2029 to move near the new SkyTrain is gonna overpay, while the buyer who moves in 2026 picks the neighborhood and cashes in on the price appreciation. That's the whole game. In this video, I'm breaking down where to live near the new SkyTrain in Surrey and Langley, BC. Let's get right into it. So you walk out of the Surrey Central Station today and the first thing you see is high rises and cranes. They're everywhere. That kind of tells you the answer to one place you can live on the SkyTrain right now. It's the one neighborhood, the Surrey City Centre. Now the current SkyTrain Expo line has a few stops on the Surrey side, the Gateway, the Surrey Central, and the King George Station. But here's the thing. To a buyer, all three are basically in the same neighborhood. This up-and-coming Surrey Centre neighborhood is in the Whalley area of Surrey. Now, historically, this has had a bit of a rough reputation, but if you drive through it today, you'll see it's a neighborhood in the middle of change. For starters, there's a project called Georgetown by Anthem Properties going up with 9 towers on about 14 acres, changing the skyline of the area. You've also got the Park George Towers from Concord Pacific with that final tower going up right now. All in all, there's a lot of homes under construction in the city center right now. City Center also has the SFU Surrey, which is Simon Fraser University for those that might not be from around here, hooked right into the Surrey Central Station, bringing students to the area day and night. Surrey Memorial Hospital, which is right here, just had a big expansion as well, so healthcare is covered for people who choose this neighborhood. The Central City Shopping Center is connected straight to the station, making it pretty easy to go shopping any day of the week. And if you like the outdoors and recreation, you've got the Holland Park as a main green space, and the Chuck Bailey Recreation Center handles the fitness and the pool side of things. The lifestyle here is very complete, and one of the recent announcements by the city is going to add a huge entertainment option to this area as well. The city has committed close to $200 million for a new 10,000 seat indoor arena at Tom Binney Park right in the city center. They finalized the developer shortlist in March and construction is expected to start in 2027. This is going to be a great addition to the area and Surrey as a whole. In my experience, a buyer who is car free or close to it, this is the perfect area for you, especially someone heading into Vancouver or Burnaby for work every day. And by the way, I'll talk about which area might fit you best later in the video. The time you save on that commuting is gonna surprise you. But let me finish this first. So you're basically trading the white picket fence kind of thing for the urban lifestyle, and you're getting it at Surrey prices instead of Vancouver prices. Speaking of prices, the situation's pretty simple. Condos in the city center right now are sitting in the low to mid 400s for most of the inventory. The newer 2-bedroom places are pushing the high 500s and up, depending on the building. One thing I have to mention is that the City of Surrey's long-term plan for that city center area is to be the second downtown in Metro Vancouver. So if you buy here right now, you're buying into a place that's not done yet, but the direction is locked in. It's a great play for price appreciation. With that, we've covered where the SkyTrain goes today, but the map gets way more interesting once you head east of King George to the future SkyTrain stops. Now, real quick before we keep going, if you're watching this from somewhere else in Canada or out of the country and trying to figure out where on this SkyTrain line fits your lifestyle best, reach out to me. I'd be happy to run you through the different areas. My contact info is in the description below. All right, back to the video. So this is the part most buyers haven't caught up to yet. The Surrey-Langley SkyTrain extension is being built right now with 16 kilometers of elevated track and 8 brand new stations from King George out to the Langley City Centre. All 8 are being built at the same time and over 30% of the track is already done. They're aiming to be finished the entire project by late 2029. Now, before I walk you through which neighborhoods to look at, you need to know about one thing the provincial government did back in late 2023. They passed a law called Bill 47, which forces cities to allow high-density building within walking distance of any SkyTrain station. The way it works is pretty simple. Within 200 meters of a station, you've got a 20-story minimum. From 200 to 400 From a station, you've got about a 12-story minimum, and 400 to 800 meters, an 8-story minimum. So why does this matter to you? Well, pull up Google Earth and look at the SkyTrain stations over in Burnaby and Coquitlam. Look at Metrotown, look at Brentwood. You see these big clusters of high-rises right at the stations with lower density fanning out from there. And that's what every single one of these new stations is gonna look like in 15 to 20 years. All right, so let's walk you through a few of the main stops. The first station I want to talk about is actually the second stop along the new line, the 152nd Street station. I wanted to point this one out as it sits at the corner of Fraser Highway and 152nd Street on the edge of the Guildford area. So the Guildford Town Center for shopping and amenities is right there, and the Green Timbers Urban Forest is close by as well. Now this station is interesting because the provincial government has already gone out and bought 14 properties next to it, which all add up to around 1.6 hectares. The plan is for at least 700 homes on that site, plus grocery, retail, childcare, and community space. So a lot is coming in the future right around that 152nd Street station. The area today comprises mainly older detached homes on larger lots, townhomes, low-rise condos, shops, and smaller scale retail. It might not be on a lot of buyers' radar right now, but for a buyer looking at the long game, the investment case here is probably the clearest one on the line. Now, next are a few close together stops I really want you to pay attention to. The Fleetwood and Bakerview stations at 160th and 164th Streets. Fleetwood is one of Surrey's most established neighborhoods with beautiful tree-lined streets and a solid community identity. You've got the Fleetwood Community Center, Fleetwood Park, a Surrey Sport and Leisure with pools and ice rinks and lots of recreation in the area. So Fleetwood gets 2 stations and nobody's really talking about it. The Fleetwood station at 160th Street is the closest to the community center, and a big future project called Fleetwood Center, which will include residential towers, commercial space, and other amenities, is going to be happening. And Bakerview at 166th Street has a bus exchange built into it for connections going north and south, and sits right next to the Surrey Sport and Leisure Complex. The detached homes are going from just over 1 million and up. There's also a new condo project coming online around the Fraser Highway corridor with prices in the high 400s to mid 600s for 2 and 3 bedroom units. Townhomes are in the mid 700s to high 800s, and the long range plan for here is the Fleetwood Plan, which is a 30-year planning document calling for over 360,000 square feet of new shops and retail around that Fleetwood station by 2050. Just before we arrive in Langley, you hit the East Cloverdale and Clayton stations. It's served by 2 stations from slightly different ends, Hillcrest at 184th Street and Clayton at 190th Street. Clayton is Surrey's master plan suburb, and most of it was built in 2000 to 2010, so it has that newer, walkable kind of feel. Smaller lot homes, townhomes, and condos with green space and walking trails mixed in. The area is served by Salish Secondary and Clayton Heights Secondary, so for families with kids, you've got great education options. Now, if you're living in Clayton today, it's very car dependent, and that's the honest truth. But the SkyTrain in 2029 will change all of that with 2 stations right there. For a family buying here right now, you're looking at condos starting around 400,000, townhomes 650 plus, and houses in the 1.2-ish range and up depending on size. I really think the upside of this area with the SkyTrain is huge. The last 2 stops are in Langley at the Willowbrook Mall and downtown Langley City, which sits at the very end of the line at 203rd Street. Right now, downtown Langley is mostly low-rise condos, shops, services, and a few newer condo projects. The Willowbrook station is being built right now in the parking lot of the mall where the old White Spot restaurant used to be. And I've already heard of possible future high-rise projects going up around that station. Once the line opens, Langley City all the way to the waterfront station in downtown Vancouver is going to be roughly 65 to 70 minutes. Try that by car today in rush hour and you're easily 90 plus minutes. When complete, you'll be able to jump on the train, relax, read a book, and be looking at the Vancouver Harbor and the mountains before you know it. Another thing to point out real estate wise is that Langley City is currently the cheapest SkyTrain connected entry point you're going to find south of the Fraser River. Let's dive right in. If you're heading into Vancouver or Burnaby every day for work, you probably want the Surrey City Centre. Full stop. I can't recommend it enough. And you don't need to wait for 2029 because it's already on the line today. And you're gonna save yourself probably 15 to 20 minutes each way via SkyTrain every single day compared to living out in Langley City. Over a year, that's a lot more time spent with your family, your hobbies outside, and whatever else you enjoy doing. Now, if you've got a family, you want space, parks, access to local schools, rec centers, without giving up future transit access, Fleetwood might be your best bet with an established community and good housing variety. And Clayton is also a great option if you want that newer master plan community feel with lots of townhomes, smaller lot homes, and even homes with legal coach house suites to rent out. It comes down to whether you want the established neighborhood with bigger lots or the newer one. For first-time buyers and budget-minded buyers, things are looking a lot better than they used to be right now. The condo market in Metro Vancouver has had a tough stretch. Values are down about 8 to 9% year over year as of early 2026, and there's a surplus of inventory pretty much everywhere. Another thing I'd like to point out, being a real weather guy, I would have loved to be a meteorologist, is that if you're buying in Surrey or Langley, the further south you go, the better the weather is. White Rock, which is pretty much the farthest you can get from the North Shore Mountains, sees about 20% more sunshine and less rain than the North Vancouver area, which is right up against the mountains. That changes what the year feels like, with drier mornings and a lot more weekends outside. So when you're picking your neighborhood, you're also picking what kind of weather you'd prefer. The map is gonna look very different in 3 to 4 years, and the prices around the SkyTrain stations are gonna look very different as well. The work is figuring out which station fits your lifestyle before everybody else does. So if you want advice on where to buy based on your commute, your family, and your budget before the SkyTrain is completed, reach out to me. Email me at info@moteam.ca and I'd be happy to help. And if you already narrowed it down to the Clayton or Cloverdale area but you can't decide between the two, check out the video I've linked here where I compare the two. It's the next move for anyone who liked this video. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.